Dear colleagues and dear friends, we all know the history of the Bikini Day. We know what's happened on the Marshall Islands with the biggest explosion made by the United States of America. We know the dead people, the wounded people, the destroyed landscape, the consequences for many people till today. And this raised the question, has the human beings, the international society, learned the lessons from the Bikini Atoll? And I think we have to say no. And the main argument that we have to say no is, please look at the doomsday clock. 90 seconds before midnight. Can you imagine what this means? We are so near to a nuclear war, to a nuclear catastrophe that we never were in human beings' history. Cuban crisis, which is mentioned very often as the most dangerous situation since 1945. The doomsday clock was by 7 minutes. Now it's 90 seconds. And I think it is absolutely needed that we bring this information, that the nuclear danger, the nuclear catastrophe is lying over us, that this information will be spread all over the world against the discussion of the nuclear threats. We have the nuclear threats by Putin. We have the first use strategy by the United States and the NATO. We have the discussion about new nuclear countries in South Korea. We have the discussion about nuclear weapons in Europe, the so-called Europe nuclear bomb, as a collective work from France and Germany. We have the discussions about more nuclear countries all over the planet. That is the wrong way to go. That is not the way how lessons are learned from the Bikini Atoll. That is the way in the nuclear catastrophe. What we need is the opposition. We need the discussion about disarmament, about nuclear disarmament again on the international agenda. That means above all and first, we need more support for the Treaty for the Prohibition of Nuclear Weapons. We need that more countries sign it, more countries ratifying, and that above all, more powerful big countries of the world become signatories of the Treaty for the Prohibition of Nuclear Weapons. This is a lesson from Bikini, to fight for nuclear disarmament. And today, it means above all for Europe that we are fighting against the backcoming of nuclear weapons to Great Britain, and we are supporting the British peace movement in all their activities, and that we are fighting against the so-called modernization of nuclear weapons in the nuclear sharing countries. We don't need these B6112. We need disarmament, and we need to bring the points of disarmament back to the United Nations, back to the international community. That, I think, is the main point. And let us never forget, the war in Ukraine has the danger and the potential for a worldwide nuclear catastrophe. And to stop this means above all and first that we need ceasefire and negotiations in Ukraine. Ukraine could be the most worst sign in the way to the nuclear catastrophe. The escalation dynamic of this war is great and big. And what we need now is to stop this escalation by coming to ceasefire and negotiations. But in general, we need a political alternative. We have to leave the path of confrontation and war, and we have to come to a path of common security in all parts of the world, including the Korean Peninsula and the South China Sea. This is the way also for nuclear disarmament, which opens the way for a world without nuclear weapons. And the lessons learned, the history of the Bikini Atoll and the Bikini Day says, let us continue fighting for a world without nuclear weapons. Let us unite our forces. Let us strengthen our activities. That is the only way how we can come to a secure world, because a secure and sustainable world can only be a world without nuclear weapons. Thank you so much.